So welcome. This is our Monday night restorative class. And this week, we're going to be talking about healthy sleep all week. And I hope that there's some information in all the classes that we do this week that you find useful in helping you to get a restorative night's sleep. Tonight, we're going to start in constructed rest. So if you would like to come to your mat, lie down and bend your knees, stand your feet on the floor. There's a couple blankets you might want to use here. So you might want to take a blanket folded into a long rectangle and place that underneath your spine, just so that you have a little extra cushioning. You might want to have a second blanket folded the same way into a long rectangle and drape that over your knees so that your feet step a little further apart than your knees are. And the blanket is kind of supporting your legs as they fall in towards each other. Now, both of those things are obviously optional. And it depends on how you feel tonight. So while you're getting your constructed rest set up, you also might want to have a little roll of washcloth or tea towel underneath the curvature of your neck. You can use an eye pillow at this point if that's a practice you like. And of course, if you need more blankets to stay warm, use more blankets to stay warm. So tonight we're going to talk about the autonomic nervous system. And I'm sure you've heard me talk something about this before. It's a very popular topic in my office. But the autonomic nervous system is the branch of your nervous system that allows you to fall asleep or wakes you up. So it's a very important aspect of your awareness, is to kind of become familiar with these underground workings inside of your body and using some tools that we have in order to kind of affect that programming. Autonomic reminds me of the word automatic, and that's kind of what happens. In the autonomic nervous system, it has been programmed since probably before you were born for certain things to happen when certain things happen in your environment. In terms of sleep, as light naturally fades in your environment, a hormone called melatonin is produced in your brain, and it gradually encourages your body to move more and more into parasympathetic nervous system dominance, or rest and digest. Now, last week we talked a lot about the vagus nerve, and the week before we talked about the parasympathetic nervous system. So we've been working on this for a few weeks now. So it's this natural process of the light fading, along with the circadian rhythms that your body developed between the ages of 2 and 6 months. For those of us that have raised babies, you remember that's when their days and nights were mixed up and you had to train them to sleep at night. And that's what happens when that circadian rhythm is settling into the nervous system. So it is natural to fall asleep as it gets dark, and it is natural to stay in a restful sleep-like state for up to 12 hours through the dark times. Rarely does that happen in our modern world. In our modern world, we have lots of artificial light and artificial entertainment that keeps us going long past even our grandparents or great-grandparents would have been accustomed to going. So we're here in a practice tonight to see if we can use some of our yoga tools to speak to the autonomic nervous system and begin to do a little bit of a reset. So we're going to use our environment. So if you have the option of turning down some lights in your environment, even closing some blinds or drapes, that might be an idea. And we're also going to use the tool of breath. That's going to be a real principal operation for us tonight, is to really explore breath and use an adjustment in our breathing rates to talk to the nervous system. As we've talked before, breathing is one of those functions that can be automatically controlled through this branch of the nervous system, or you have a conscious opportunity to control the breath. So here we are in constructed rest, and we're getting ready to undergo a practice that will allow you to tune in to your autonomic nervous system, identify whether it's in a state of stress or relaxation or somewhere in between, and to practice some of these tools, for example, breathing and movement timed with breath. And it invites your system to come back into a little bit more of a balance. You may want to use some of these tools to help you get to sleep on a regular basis. If you wake up in the night, and you want to fall back asleep, you can do these things right in your bed often. And it's very common to see me throwing pillows around and doing breathing ratios in the middle of the night because I struggle a bit with sleep. So here we are reclining. Our legs are flopped together, maybe supported by a blanket. And allow your hands to go wherever they're most comfortable. Might be resting on the floor beside you or on your body in some way. And may I suggest to you that this autonomic nervous system is responsible for the functioning of all the organs in your body. It decides, how your heart will beat, how your lungs will fill and release, but every organ in your body has its own pulsation, its own internal rhythm. If you've had a large dinner before practicing tonight, you may be feeling or hearing some of the processes of the digestive organs, but it even goes subtler than that. Places like the pancreas or the stomach or the kidneys all have an energetic rhythm, a pulsation. See if you can tune in now and notice some of those subtle rhythms of your own body. Notice your body and how it meets your floor, and allow your body to land heavily toward the ground. It's very helpful to come into the physical body because so often our daily activities, especially these days, we're in the spaciousness of our minds, up in our heads, sorting everything out. And it's much easier to go to ground, to prepare to release into sleep when we feel that connection and we land. So as I said, we're tuning into the pulsations that occur naturally in your body. You may feel your heart beating or some organs working on digestion, or even more subtle attunements might be happening. But eventually, can I please ask you to attune to your breath? Breathing in and out through your nose. And at this point, you may find it helpful to place your hands on your belly. If that's uncomfortable, don't force to that, but you may find it comfortable to place hands on belly and notice as you inhale, the shape change that happens, and as you exhale, the shape change that happens in the area of your belly. So this happens completely automatically. You don't have to do anything to make this happen. But there is a shape change as the air moves in and out of your body. And I'm just hoping you can attune to that right now. We will be working with some breath ratios in tonight's practice. And if at any time you feel less than comfortable, less than you do right now, then I want you to ignore what I'm saying and go back to breathing just like this. So simply being aware that you're a breathing being, landing to the ground and attuning to the subtler sensations of breathing in and breathing out. So this is a very natural breath rhythm. There's nothing fancy going on. It's simply you tuning in and paying attention. So that being said, I was going to start playing around a little bit with the breathing rhythm. Breath, as I mentioned earlier, is our window in to this hidden world of why we feel relaxed or don't feel relaxed, or why we can fall asleep sometimes and not others. So let's begin by balancing out the inhale to the exhale. So I'll let you count on your own. The rhythm of counting is kind of like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, roughly 1 second count. If you have a clock in your house anywhere, that you can hear ticking. That'll be a good metronome for this. But let's count your inhales and count your exhales for a couple breaths. And then see if you can settle on a regular rhythm. This could be 4 seconds, could be 5 seconds, but don't push yourself to do really deep breathing. I want you to try to be in the very comfortable, natural range as of yet. So a lot of us will be 4 seconds in, 4 seconds out. And then just take a couple more breaths counting. You'll notice that has a rather interesting effect on many people. Just 2 more breaths, counting in, counting out, evening out the inhale to the exhale. Okay, and then let go of counting. Simply open your awareness now to what's going on in your mind. Typically, and this doesn't happen all the time, but typically when we focus on breathing and start doing something like counting with it, the thinking that has so occupied us throughout the day tends to recede somewhat. And it's that thinking that gives us the level of stress that we are suffering with most of the time. So when we start to count the breath, we ground into our present moment experience, and we're more involved with our material body. We're here in the present moment. Okay, let's come back into that same breath. And here's a suggestion. Could you add 2 counts to the exhales now? So let's try this for about a minute. Inhaling for the same as you did before, maybe 4 counts in. And then exhaling for 2 more, like 6. Full awareness of breathing in and breathing out. If you do find that thoughts intrude, that's normal and it's fine. Simply reorganize your attention back to counting this breath. And then let's let that counting go. Again, let's open awareness, attune to your body. Maybe going back to sensing the pulsations as we did earlier. And noticing the quality of thinking that's going on. And if your thinking is shifting at all while you count your breath, know that your whole nervous system, that autonomic nervous system, is responding. And there are different things starting to happen that will be more supportive as you move towards sleep tonight. Okay, so here's a challenge we can go to if we want to, and that is to exhale a little bit longer until our exhale is double the count of the inhale. What often happens for me is my breath varies quite a bit, round to round, and sometimes I've run out of air as I'm exhaling. So is it possible that you could, without strain, continue to count the exhale, even though there's no more breath moving, and then do your inhale at the normal time? So let's try that for about a minute, doubling the length of the exhale to the inhale. Again, it's normal for thinking to intrude, but you have control of redialing back to the breath and tuning that in. Okay, and then let's let that go. Once again, opening awareness to what's happening, not only in the physical body, but even in the mental area. And there's a tool that you might really want to kind of imprint with when you're having trouble getting to sleep or staying asleep. Here's an excellent tool: extended exhale breathing. Notice we were really gentle and patient as we moved into that, because if you come in like a gangbusters and try to, forcefully renovate your breath, you can create more anxiety. So if you think about this at night when you can't sleep, just know that you want to take this much time. You want to be this patient with yourself. There's no shortcuts, unfortunately. Okay, let's come into a little bit of movement. So if you're wrapped in a lot of blankets, you might want to just put those off to the side now, so that you've got a little bit of room to move around on your mat. You stay right here though, lying on our backs. Feet bent, or knees bent, feet on the floor. I'm going to time some movement with breath. And in this case, can we stick to an even ratio breath? Inhale matching the exhale. So let's do the movements and then we'll start counting. Take your right leg, stretch it out on the floor and flex the ankle. Push strongly out of the heel. The right foot is out to the right edge of your mat a bit. So it's not straight down, it's on a little bit of an angle. Good. And then bend your knee, relax again. So both feet are back into constructed rest. Let's try that with the left side. So stretch out your left leg, flex the ankle, push out of the heel, a little bit of tension there, and then bend your knee and relax again into constructed rest. So that's the movement. We'll add on to that, but that's all the movement we have to worry about for now. Now we want to start thinking about an even ratio breath. So when you're ready to inhale, start counting like you did before, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, and extend your right leg, flex the ankle, inhaling here. And then on your exhale, equal exhale, bend your knee and relax. Then go to the left side and just take a couple more breaths to alternate sides, right and left and left and right. Make the focus the counting of the breath. Really stretching out alternate legs. When you've done your left leg this last time, come back to constructed rest. Let's just check in. What would happen if you stretched both legs out now and flexed your ankle? So let's just try that movement on its own. Stretch legs out, flex the ankle, push out of your heels. Long legs. Does that feel okay on your back? If so, leave your legs stretched out. If not, keep your knees bent and do exactly what we just did. Don't go along with this next thing. So changing it up so it suits your back perfectly for tonight. And then we'll do the same thing. Let's bring in the counted out breath. So as you inhale, flex your right ankle, push out of the heel, exhale, relax the right leg. And then inhale, flex the left ankle, push out the left heel, and exhale, relax the left leg. And alternate back and forth a couple more times, adding now your counted breath. So counting in your own mind. And then this time when you flex the left ankle, let's exhale and relax, and that's it until we add a little bit more on. So here's a little thing about your brain. Your brain in the frontal lobes has a right side and a left side. You probably heard that before. And one side of the brain is more associated with go, 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 let's get stuff done. And the other side of the brain is associated with relaxation and kind of dreaminess and creativity. By exercising or flexing one ankle and then the opposite ankle, you're actually stimulating alternate sides of your brain. We call it contralateral movement. And we're going to use that technique quite a bit in the next little while. And what it's doing is it's sending a current to one side of the brain and then the other side of the brain to bring the brain into a more balanced place. And we're also accentuating this effect with your breathing. Okay, let's add a little something more. You can always stay where we were before if you like that better. But let's try this other movement now. Stretch out your right leg and flex the ankle like you were before. Then take your left hand, open it way up, stretch the left fingers far apart from each other, and then on the exhale, relax. And then what you'll do on the next inhale is the left ankle and right hand. So opposite hand and foot. And they're stretching and pushing out into space on the inhales and relaxing on the exhales. Once you've got the movement pattern, add in your counted out breath, an even ratio breath. And let's do that a few times to each side. Remember, on the exhales, you're relaxing, letting the fingers curl to a natural fist. And on the inhales, you feel that opening, that stretching out into space around your heel, foot, and hand. And the next time you work with the left ankle, let's say that's the last time. Bend your knees, come back into constructed rest. And let's get ready for some other work. So you're going to come into an easy knee to chest pose. And I want you to be real gentle with your body here, not pulling hard on your legs. That would kind of be counterproductive for all the work we've done so far. So this is Apanasana, a posture I think you probably know very well. But remember, the buzzword tonight is to be very gentle with yourself. So from your constructed rest position, lift one foot, then the other foot up off the floor, and let your hands rest gently on your knees. Relax your feet so they're resting close to your buttocks. This is the inhale position with the elbows straight and the legs a little ways away from your body. And as you exhale, elbows bend and legs draw in gently. So let's start with an even ratio breath, counting in your own mind as you inhale, elbows straight. Exhale, elbows come in. Make sure when the elbows bend, they stay close to your body. They don't wing out. So you're staying tender and collected towards yourself. And then let's gradually start adding a little bit onto the exhale. So you can start by adding 2 counts to the exhale here, if you like. Remember, the movement is really quite slow and subtle. It's more a vehicle to tune into the breath. And then if you want, you can add a couple more counts onto your exhale to the point you've got double the exhale to the inhale. If you find you run out of air a little bit, then just see if it's possible to keep counting and then inhale at the right time. So we're progressively lengthening the exhales. Okay. And then let's release that movement. Bring your feet back to the floor. And if you had some pillows or blankets nearby to help you with your practice tonight, just make sure they're close by. We'll probably want them as we get into this next bit of practice. So feet could be on the floor for this. You could lift your feet up depending on how your back feels tonight. And your feet can be whatever distance apart you want them to be. Let your arms relax. They can be out to the sides or they can be on your body. Just let your shoulders be relaxed to the ground. And the movement is just a simple supine twist here. So you want to come into a version of the twist that really isn't that exciting, because this is about sleeping. And if you're too excited, you're not going to be able to sleep. So we'll inhale in the central position. And as you exhale, drop your knees towards one side. And then come back up. And exhale, drop your knees to the other side. So now that we've got the basic movement, let's add our breath. So exhale to prepare. And then inhale in the central position, counting to maybe 4 seconds, whatever you are using. And then exhale, drop the knees to the side, counting the same length of time. And then inhale to center, same length of time. And exhale to the other side, same length of time. Try that to each side 2 more times. Notice what the effect is of counting your breath very carefully and then matching the movement to that. Then we'll start playing around with our breath. You knew that was coming, I think. So next time you drop your legs to the first side, for me that was the right, I'm going to stop at the end of my count and just not breathe for 2 seconds. Not do anything for just a couple heartbeats here. Then when I'm ready to inhale, inhale for the normal count, come back up. Go right into the exhale, drop your knees to the second side. And then when you're done exhaling, the normal count, just wait 2 seconds. Don't let anything happen. Suspend it in space. And then come back up. And try that to each side a couple more times. So you're dropping your knees over and then just waiting for 2 counts after you exhale. Notice how that feels. Remember, you can take an off ramp anytime. The next time you come back to your first side, we're exhaling here, and then let's hold this position. So I've got my knees dropped to one side. I've propped up under my hips so that I feel pretty bored here. I'm not feeling any great big huge pulling or stretch. So I'm doing a very supported version of reclined twist. Make sure your shoulders and your head are comfortably supported in a neutral position. Like I said, in this restorative type work we're doing tonight, we need to get really bored. So if there's a lot of sensations of sexy stretching or pulling in the groins or the hips or the IT bands, we're not going to get the same relaxation effect. Okay, so I'm set up in this, and yes, we'll start playing with the breath. So inhale for your normal count. Exhale and add 2. Try that for 2 more breaths. Inhale your normal count and exhale for an extra 2 counts. And if that's going okay, let's go to the full double. So double the exhale while you hold the supine twist to one side. Lengthening the exhale. Remember, if you run out of air as you're exhaling, see if it's possible to do that little wait thing again. And then inhale at the proper time. Let's take 2 more breaths here. And then slowly take your top leg, lift it up to the center position. Then lift up your bottom leg and just stay in constructed rest for a moment, readjusting your pelvis if it's gone off center or anything like that. And before we go to the other side, let your breath do whatever it does, natural breathing. Where's your head at? What kind of thoughts have been on your mind while we've been going through this work? So this is like super slug yoga, right? We're definitely not going to get onto Instagram with this stuff. But notice in your own body. I find it's like freaking magic. And there are so many prescription medications out there that people take to give them this sort of effect. And of course, all prescription medications have side effects and sometimes we need them, but isn't this kind of cool? You can do this for yourself and then you don't get the side effects and it's pretty much free. Let's move our props to the other side. When you're ready, come into the posture on the other side. So drop your legs the other way. Make sure, again, you're bored here. You want to make sure there's not a lot of strong sensation to captivate you. And then we'll go into the breathing pattern. So start with an even inhale and exhale. I've got a clock here in my office, so it kind of counts me through it. And then once you're settled into that, return back to adding 2 counts to your exhale. And if that's going okay, work towards, take as much time as you need, work towards a double the length on the exhale. Taking a couple more breaths. And then when you're ready to release the posture, lift your top leg up by itself, then the bottom leg, and readjust to constructed rest. Now, what happens when you don't get a relaxation effect from these practices? And that happens. It happens to me, and it's happened to my clients over the years. And this is where you're your own best teacher. We offer these tools because they work most of the time for most people, but there might be something specific going on for you right now where it doesn't work. Remember I said at the beginning, if you come back to constructed rest, let your hands maybe rest on your body, land, and go into natural breathing. That might be the best plan for you. So just because the teacher says this is supposed to make you relaxed, sometimes it doesn't, and that's okay. If you're still with me, let's carry on and come back into hands on the knees. So you remember we lifted one leg at a time, let the hands rest loosely on the knees. We're just going to repeat that little bit of the protocol exactly as we did it before. So inhale, elbows are straight. Exhale, elbows bend gently. And we'll start with an even ratio breath. So this should start, I hope, to feel a little bit like habitual now, to breathe in and out at an even ratio. And then why would we repeat this? Well, your nervous system is like a 2-year-old toddler, loves the same bedroom story every night, loves repetition. So we're giving it a little bit of symmetry. Let's go to adding 2 counts to the exhale. And eventually working towards doubling the length of the exhale. So here we have our second set of tools for those times you can't sleep. A little bit of simple movement with careful attunement to breath. Let's take 2 more breaths, working towards double the length of the exhale. And then release your feet one at a time to the floor. When you're ready, see if it's possible to stretch your legs out one at a time. Notice where you instinctively want to place your hands, either on your body or beside you on the floor. And check in. You know, I've been teaching this kind of stuff for a long time now, and I've practiced it all myself. And I've noticed that there's a lot of resistance amongst just the general population in trying these techniques. Couldn't possibly work with my level of stress. Couldn't possibly work with my chronic pain. Couldn't possibly work because I'm just different than everybody else. Well, this is our system. This is the way we're wired. And sometimes it requires a little bit more patience, some days and sometimes and other times, but eventually your nervous system will get the picture that you are issuing an executive order that it is time to slow down and attune to the breath and go to relaxation mode. Let's take a few deep breaths here. So inhale through your nose and fill the belly with as much space as you can on this inhale. Feel it really swell up. And then as you exhale, feel the belly fall towards the floor, even pull the belly back towards your spine slightly. So you're breathing quite actively now, more so than we have at any point yet in practice. And then let's repeat the movement in our legs and our arms. So the next time you inhale, flex your right ankle, open your left hand. Exhale, relax. Inhale, flex your left ankle, open your right hand. And exhale, relax. And repeat that 2 more times on either side. Remember, contralateral movement helps to calm the brain. And then let that all go. And you can come back to constructed rest. You can do any of the other bits of movement we've done, but I have one more layer of movement that you can add in. On your inhale, you can flex your right ankle, spread your left hand, and take your left arm and stretch it back behind you. And then exhale, relax the arm, relax the leg, come back to where you started. Inhale, flex the left ankle, push out of the heel, open the right palm, stretch the right arm all the way back, lengthen, and then exhale and relax. And repeating that a couple more times on either side with some fairly deep breaths. We're not really counting them now, but we're breathing fairly deeply, fairly completely. And after you've done the left ankle, on the next inhale, extend both legs, flex both ankles, extend both arms, open both arms or hands, big breath in, and then exhale, gently hug the knees in towards the chest. And just stay there in a little kind of curled in, little tiny, cozy, little ball position for a couple breaths. Relax all need to control or count the breath. And then when you're ready, I'll ask you to roll over to your side and let's adjust into a comfortable seat. So for me, I think I'm going to be okay tonight to have a blanket underneath my seat and be able to sit upright here on the floor. If at your house you think you'd rather sit on a chair, that would be a great idea. So either way, as little fuss as possible here. So we're coming into an upright seat. Now, if you decided to use this practice in bed to allow you to sleep, I would cut it off right here. I would just, not do any more upright work. But because assumably you're not going to bed at 7:30 tonight, I mean, maybe you want to, but we'll fill in the last little bit of our class with some upright work here, just to kind of capitalize on this lovely balanced brain you've been working on. So the first technique is a little bit of alternate nostril breathing, but we're going to pretend that we have nostrils here in our chest, one on the right side, one on the left side. So your arms can stay relaxed to your lap. Eyes could be closed if that's comfortable for you. Let the lower half of your body land into the ground. And try to keep your physical body as free of tension as possible. So if sitting in a chair is a better plan, then let's do it that way. And your eyes could be closed or just gazing down at the floor. And if your imagination is working for you tonight, imagine you have these nostrils in the front of your chest. And when you're ready, let's inhale through both nostrils and exhale through both nostrils. So your nostrils are imaginary in your chest here. So can you imagine taking the breath in through the two nostrils on your chest? And the next time you inhale, imagine inhaling only through the left side. Exhale through both. And then imagine inhaling only on the right and exhale through both. And see if you can flip back and forth a couple times, simply using your concentration. So I know air doesn't really move through your chest like this, but we're just imagining we have nostrils in the front of our chest. And we're alternating, bringing the air into the left and then the right, and the left and the right, and the left and the right. Let's try that a couple more times. So changing as you inhale. And then this last time, if you inhale on the right, we'll let that go and we'll imagine inhaling equally in both the right and left sides of the chest. So breathing on both sides now. And then just for fun, move your awareness to your actual nostrils. Does one side feel plugged or do they feel both pretty much open? The condition of the nostrils is a real clue as to what's going on in the nervous system. So if you're comfortable where you are, stay right where you are. If you'd rather lay down in constructed rest to do this stuff, we could do that too. But the next thing I'm going to ask you to do is breathe in and out through both of your nostrils as softly and evenly and quietly as possible. So we did that little alternating chest thing to try to get the nostrils to open up a little bit. And now we're trying to keep both of the channels, right and left, through the sinuses open, breathing very, very softly, as quietly as you can, in and out through both the right and left nostril. And then allowing yourself to feel the air come in through the right, feel the air come in through the left, and see if you can feel the two channels of air merge just about the third eye. The middle of your brow almost. See if you can have awareness up the sinus cavities a little bit, back behind the brow where the third eye might be. And breathing quietly and softly, feel the right and left stream of air merge back there somewhere. These aren't super deep breaths or anything. These are very soft and accessible breaths. Attune to that space in your body where you feel the right and left stream of air merging. We'll just take a couple more breaths like this. My teachers call this third eye breathing. Some of my friends may choose to stay here and continue practicing third eye breathing, almost like a meditation. If you're finding that relaxing, then stay right where you are. And other of my friends will find the last few minutes that we have together more productive if they come back to lying down. So taking your favorite version of Shavasana, if you choose to lie down, taking some care as you set yourself up so that you've got support where you need it. Trying to make sure that all the parts of your body are supported by the ground if you choose to lie down. So if there are parts of your body that don't meet the ground easily, the back of your neck, the backs of your knees, the hollow behind your ankles, make sure all parts of your body are supported by the ground if you're coming to Shavasana. The key is at this point in the class that we have been speaking the language of the autonomic nervous system through our movement and breath. We want to stay as best as we can attuned to that otherwise hidden world. So if you come to a shape that you know is Shavasana from your yoga class, and you're like, you know what? I feel cold. This is digging into me over here. My back doesn't like this. I don't feel cozy. Then let's change that. Because those little details really matter. Your autonomic nervous system is processing about 20,000 bits of information, different elements of sensory data every second. So it's really important for us to be attuned when we do this work and try to make sure that we're creating the most comfort, the most receptivity to the information coming into the nervous system. There's so much information coming into your brain about your environment constantly, even when you're trying to sleep, that you're only able to consciously register maybe 5% of it, and I'm being generous with that. So in your Shavasana practice, you want to try to swaddle yourself, calm your environment so that there's not so much for that autonomic nervous system to sort through. Settling down and landing. Noticing the parts of your body that are connected to the earth. And give yourself permission to feel that support. Know where your heels are resting. Feel your calves spreading. Feel what's filling in the backs of your knees. Feel the support under your thigh bones. Feel the spread of your buttocks muscles into the ground. Make sure your vertebrae through your low back and your neck are touching something, are supported by something. Feel your right and left shoulder blade imprinting to the ground. Feel your arms. If you want to get really, really fussy, it's nice to have something even in your palms. There are little, almost like eye pillows, but they're hand pillows that fill in the creases of your palms. So even it feels like someone's holding your hand. You can do that with blankets or pillows or even washcloths at home. And then, of course, feel the back of your head supported by the ground. Deeply release your head down to the earth. Your head's been floating up there trying to solve the world's problems all day. Now you can let it sink and connect to ground and be nourished, protected, healed. Notice the presence of breath in your body. At this point, we're not counting, trying to shape it in any way, but maybe taking a moment to just be really thankful that this breath moves in our body, that we are embodied. It's really quite a miracle. And then relax on purpose. Put down your shield. Surrender your weapons, because the day is almost done. You fought the good fight all day, but now you're home. And it's safe, desirable, and even pleasurable to just take this time to tune into the wisdom of your organism and to discharge duty for the day. When we sense that things are horribly out of balance and when you can't sleep, you feel like things must be horribly wrong. We want to just charge in there and just get it done and fix it, don't we? But the irony is that the more we try to force, the more we try to take charge, the further we're pushing ourselves out of balance. Your body knows exactly what to do. We just need to get out of the way. If you have a little bit more time to give yourself, to let all of this kind of settle into your lived memory, then please take that time for yourself. But if we've been together long enough for tonight, I would invite you to slowly return to that upright position that you used before. And we could share the sacred sound of Om to close the practice for tonight. So I have my hands brought together right in front of my chest nostrils. And I'm inhaling now. And namaste. So I would love to know how everyone is doing. So I'm going to unmute.